so
this is your last night's dream.
yeah, and I came outside and I looked up in the sky and there was this ginormous thing, and there was like a big thump in the sky, and this big something came down and like crashed, and there was no water, and so we were.
Wait, what do you mean? It crashed down and then what?
There was no water.
After it crashed, the water was gone?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we were the only house that had water. And then there was these that came back out. And then there was like war. And there's this giant dome over our house that was protecting us. And there was people saying, Can I come in? And I was like, no, you have to be a believer. So they were repenting, and like a year later, we were still there.
In our house?
Yeah. And
were there people in our house?
Yeah, there was more people than before. So
people who repented?
Yeah.
And we had water?
Yes.
And we were taken care of, but everybody else outside, when there's war and all this stuff's going on, nobody else has water or anything.
No.
But our house does.
Yeah. And then, like, there was this giant speaking thing around the whole world and said...
Wait, so everybody could see this giant thing speaking around the world?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it said, you have to believe in me or you will die. And then I was like, what? And I looked up because I was just looking down. And I looked up and it was like this weird thing. And then like a few days later, I got raptured.
Wow. So the thing that came down and said you have to worship me, what did it look like?
It has like wings.
Did it look like a human?
Not really like a human.
It's big?
Big, yeah. And we got raptured, of course. And then the blink of an eye, I was in heaven.
And then what happened?
And then there was this ginormous house, and like everybody had a room. I didn't have my name on earth. Like I didn't have my real name right now. I had a different name.
You were given a new name?
Yeah.
Do you know that that's in the book of Revelation, that you'll get a new name?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then it was so beautiful there. Like you could sit next to a lion, it wouldn't attack. Like you could pet the lion, you can pet a king cobra, you could just do anything. And there's like no sleep, no anything. And you can run for hours and hours, and you won't get tired.
Did you see anybody you knew up there?
I saw a lot of people I knew. And then like the fruit there is really good. And then I woke up.
Wow.
I hear the trumpet, and the trumpet was so loud. Everyone just there in the backyard, they were all looking up. And so when I look in the direction of where the trumpet's coming from, I see Jesus in the sky, in like the clouds, and it was like the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. There was souls rising up to where he was, and I start screaming, like the rapture's here, and then I start to get pulled up into the sky, and I see that my family isn't getting pulled up, and I just start screaming, specifically to one person, but I start screaming to them, please don't get the mark of the beast. And I just kept getting pulled up into the sky, and eventually I don't see my family anymore. And when I get pulled up into the sky, it's like, I don't know what happened, but I get thrown into like a body of water. It almost looks like the ocean, but it felt like a cleansing moment. And I just remember somebody telling me, like somebody told me in my spirit, like, you're about to meet Jesus, like, so you're in line and we'll let you know when it's your turn. And it's my turn all of a sudden, and I walk in the room and I see Jesus sitting there at a table waiting for me. And he just has like my whole life. He was gonna lay it out on the table and we were gonna go over it together. And then I woke up. This dream was so real that when I woke up, I almost threw up, because I almost felt like really nauseous, because I literally felt like I was shot up into the sky, had been thrown in water, and the whole emotions of my family and their faces, their sad faces when they were getting left behind. And it was so real, and it broke my heart. you know, as a believer, you get excited to see Jesus, but you also have a big heart, so you're obviously going to be heartbroken for your family that's not going to make it, or just people who don't believe. Like, it hurts me. So at first I didn't really know what to do with this dream, you know, but God told me on Thursday, he said that if I don't share these prophetic messages and this dream, that people's blood are going to be on my hands. So if they choose to not believe or they choose to ignore it, that's on them. But you need to share this. So here I am sharing it. I hope you heed the warning.
That I saw Jesus in the sky. I heard him say, "I am here, it is finished, and it is done." Remember how he was positioned on the cross with his arms spread out? So he was in the sky standing, but he put out his arms like when he was on the cross. And he did that arm thing really fast. And then heaven and earth shook. And I heard, "Then heaven and earth will shake." Then after, the Spirit of God came up from the earth as if it was already on earth. It went off, and there was so much glory everywhere. Then people all of a sudden started to get raptured up everywhere in the world. And after that, Jesus, the people that were raptured, and like all the glory went off, and all that was left on the earth that I could see was this gloomy environment, very dark, ash everywhere. People were still on earth, but it was the remnant that was not raptured up with Jesus. People that were left on the earth started to wonder and ask, what happened? And the one person I remember hearing said, the glory of the Lord left the earth. And they all looked up at the moon, and the moon was red. They looked up at the clouds, and the clouds were dark. Just like how it talks in Revelation about the blood moon and the atmosphere of the end times, the description fit perfectly. I saw Jesus come in the sky with horses, and I saw his face, and his eyes were like pure white, but I knew, and you could just feel it. He was so upset. He was so mad. And he looked at the people that were on the earth, and he said to them, "And you were the ones that did not believe." When he looked with his eyes, the light that were in his eyes beamed onto the people. Then all of a sudden, I fall into this portal, like in earth or something. And I remember when I went through the portal, I went to hell, not as if I was suffering, but like the Lord was showing me something through that. I remember seeing first the Spirit of the Lord hovering over me, protecting me from what was happening down there. When I first entered the vision, I heard someone say, "Believe in him." And there was lava everywhere. There was people screaming, some crying. I didn't hear it a lot. There was just anguish, and I just remember the atmosphere being so scary and wrenching. There's no word on earth to describe the atmosphere, the activities that happened in my vision and in hell, period. This is a very graphic part. I seen a woman. I heard her. There were demons tormenting her. She was screaming, but it was like the worst absolute scream you've ever heard. Her body was contorting in the most like petrifying ways. Her head was like twisted and her eyes were popping out. People were getting tortured by demons, but there was just torment everywhere. It was the most lifeless place ever. What we think lifeless means on earth is nowhere and no way similar to hell. Then God took me out of hell. I remember him coming to me and comforting me. And he put his hand on my head and said, "But you are my child." And then I heard the Lord say to me, "Wake people up, that there will be a great revival, and that the Lord will pour out his Spirit upon people." And God said to be caught in that rather than the great deception, and that I need to do my part, and he will do his part. And that's where the vision all ended. If you do not know Jesus, he loves you and he died for you. Everyone has heard that portion, and I always knew that. But there was a time in my life where God showed me there's more than that, and he revealed to me all that he's doing now. And so I just want to encourage you. Jesus cares about you and he loves you and he has a relationship for you. The truth is, telling you you're going to go to hell will not bring you closer to God. Telling you that grace is here and that truth is here, God welcomes people who are humble, that will bring you to a place where you can say, God is good, because he is good. And God is giving us chances after chances to open our eyes to this, to saving people from bondage, from trauma, from sadness and brokenness. God is going to bring a great multitude of people to him to reveal that actually God does give peace. You can walk in life without anxiety. You can walk in life with purpose and direction, because everyone that watches this video has a purpose, and God has a plan for you better than any direction you could have made for your own life.